Do you guys got the place for the whole thing?
We just have the place because John here is the man. Hooked it up like nobody's.
Call a bunch of your friends. Take advantage of this.
Watch the Pro Bowl. We'll watch you from up here. Aloha, it is Dave Lawrence, and I'm really thrilled. We're in one of the nicest rooms I've ever been in to record one of these things here in Waikiki, and it's thanks to the manager, John, from the Goo Goo Dolls, and I have their vocalist, guitarist, songwriter, Johnny Resnick, sitting next to me. A big aloha and mahalo.
Aloha, how are you?
Oh, I'm very good, brother. Thank you for asking. Yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm just enjoying, this beautiful room that we're in.
Dude, your people, they're large.
They should do it for me. I don't get rooms this nice.
Well, look what they did. I'm very impressed. And how was your trip over here? I was reading some of the tweets, the Goo Goo related tweets. Anything unusual? I heard Piers Morgan was on at least some portion of your flight. That's what Robbie said, I think.
Was he really? I think Robbie's just lying to get his
extra attention.
Yeah,
that's smart.
I don't know if no one mentioned anything to me about Piers Morgan.
Okay, that's the Larry King guy or whatever. That's what it was. It was in one of the tweets. I was like, wow, that would be weird if he's here. How otherwise has your trip been? Anything unusual?
No, nothing unusual. Just got in early, so we had a chance to relax and kind of just take in the scenery and soak up the vibe of the place.
That's have a great vibe, and I read some of the interviews that you did on the phone with people about some of your previous experiences here. I was hoping, sort of, if you could try to encapsulate in as much of a chronological order as possible your experiences here in the islands that you can recall.
Sure. Well, the first and last time I ever went scuba diving, I did it on Maui, which was fantastic. It was unbelievable. I thought I was going to be terrified, but it was so peaceful and so beautiful. I'd never felt like that after I've gotten out of the water, or done an activity. I've never felt that relaxed for the rest of the day. It was an amazing feeling because I'm pretty hyper guy. But it was very nice to do that. And then we played at a Hard Rock here, I believe, on this island, and I was just amazed at all the fireworks to ring in the New Year. Or blast in the New Year. That was really, really a lot of fun. And I didn't get a chance to do it this time, but I love to rent a car and drive up past the North Shore and around the other side of the island. And it's kind of rainy over there. And,
right.
And it's really green. I love that.
And is there a favorite place in the islands? Like when Hawaii came to mind for this trip, for example, was there something that popped in your head? I remember when I was there, I really dug doing this. Like, is there one single thing that is a standout memory of the islands?
Yeah, there was we took a walk up to Diamond Head. As far as we started walking up around in that park over there, and that was really beautiful. That was really amazing to me. I love that, and gosh, it's just one of those all-encompassing things. It's just that you're here, and whatever happens.
You're fortunate to go to a lot of wonderful places, so it's I'm sure it becomes a blur after a while. But being a journalist here in Hawaii, we always have to sort of ask, because you never know what kind of story you might say. Oh, I remember I did this or that.
There was a really amazing Italian restaurant on Maui, in a strip mall. It was really I couldn't believe how amazing it was. That was one of the best meals I've had here.
Dig it. Well, hopefully, I know this trip is a really fast one, so maybe the next time you're through, you'll be able to get back there.
Yeah. We also went to Lanai.
Wow. Okay, so you did. You went to Lanai.
Yeah, and
you stayed down by the beach or up at that lodge?
We stayed in that lodge, but we walked off the lodge and kind of took a walk down the road, and then there was like the little street with a few things on it, and I just loved it.
That's a great island.
It's fantastic. It's really beautiful.
Who were you there with?
Just the band,
Yeah, you go there with like someone. I was there with my dad. You go there with like your girlfriend or something. It's special.
Yeah, it is a very special place.
And they have those big turkeys running around all over. Did you see the giant turkey?
I didn't see the giant turkeys. Maybe next time.
And football is what brought you here. Is there a connection that you have beyond the fact that it's a wonderful gig that your people got for you? Do you personally, are you a big football fan?
I can't say that I'm a big fan of really any sports. I think I'm more of a hockey lover, being from Buffalo. But
Makes sense.
you're supposed to love the Bills, but come on, after Jim Kelly, it was all just like, oh, really devastating emotionally. So I'm a fan of going to events, but whether they're sporting events or concerts or whatever. But not really a sports fan now.
Yeah, well, I like some basketball probably about as much as you like hockey. When you think of doing these giant gigs like you're going to do today, it's going to be Aloha Stadium, about 40,000 people if it's at capacity, and you've done a lot of these. What makes these more difficult than a regular gig in terms of your sound or preparing for it? What makes this stand out as an unusual kind of gig to do?
It's always a little frustrating to do anything for television because you have one shot, you can't screw it up, and there is so much. I mean, you will not even notice our band being there because there's so much
Spectacle.
that spectacle and pageantry going on around us, and pyro and kids dancing and just it's a little bit it can scare you a little bit, so I have to sort of psych myself up and just say, well, don't even think about it, but they're really amazing, fantastic shows on the other side because the crowd is just so pumped up already to they're rooting for their favorite players and all that, and to be part of that energy is really, really fun.
I'm from the Philly area, which is vastly different than here. Yes. And my mom and dad still live there. And I was fortunate to be there this past July 4th. And I didn't go to the show, but was hanging with my mom at her house and watching you they broadcast the whole thing live on Channel 6. How many people were there at that show?
I think it was over 100,000 people.
This is giant show, Ben Franklin Parkway. I can't remember where, but it was in Philly, and I mean, magical show, dude. And a couple things, it was a good lead-in because we were just talking about TV and what makes it difficult doing those shows. And I know a little bit about how difficult it can be doing those. And your voice at that Philly show, I mean, for a guy whose career I've followed, as my own career has developed, I just had to both, as a compliment, tell you how amazing it sounded and how unchanged it sounds through the years. And by way of that, ask you, what do you do to stay strong as a vocalist? Or what are there keys to the magic that is maintaining your sound like you have?
Well, I mean, I take singing lessons. I go back every couple of years and I'll meet with a guy named Eric Vitro in Los Angeles, and he's just so amazing, and he teaches me basically survival techniques for my voice, and you just warm your voice up a lot before any performance, so.
That's it. That's it.
And I've been, I've been really lucky. Because I still like to smoke cigarettes.
I was gonna ask you smoke.
Yeah. But it's strange because it's like, every singer I know smokes, and every saxophone player I know smokes, and it's like it's just why do we do that? I don't know. But I'm working on quitting.
Well, it's. I wonder if it plays any role in making your voice sound the way that it does. You have this. There's like some kind of warm, charismatic thing. I don't know whether it's just your personality. It's very hard to figure out when you try to dissect your gift.
I think my voice has definitely changed a little bit. Maybe not to other people's ears, but I've definitely. I think the cigarettes have definitely, smoked my cords a little bit. So it's time to give it up.
It was a great moment during that show. Somebody put this adorable little kid up on the stage, and it was just, there's something, I was telling this to your manager, John, about when you watch like the Name video and you watch the procession of like multicultural people at that show in Philly, there's something that kind of connects it to how you guys have transcended genres and been such a multi-format success. Yeah,
that was that. I'll tell you what, that little man, Reggie.
Right, Reggie.
Reggie was his name, and the Roots had just played, and they're like they're like gods in Philadelphia, and they just got done playing, and we were feeling a little intimidated, like, oh man, how do we compete with that? Because it was such a great show, and they're such a great band, and then Reggie's dad put him up on the stage and saved us. You know, he really stole the show, and it was really fun, you know, to see that.
It was an inspiring moment, and like I said, it fits into this thing. I mean, do you ever think about your ability to transcend the genres and be so successful? I mean, it's so strange because you write these songs, they're really good pop songs, but as a rock fan, they're really good rock songs. And then on top of both of that, those things, you have these meaningful lyrics, which I'm hoping to just explore at least one song a little bit with you. Does it ever occur to you, I mean, is it part of your songwriting that you're going for that kind of wide appeal?
I kind of write what I write and hope for the best. You know, this last album, Something for the Rest of Us, was you know, lyrically and the subject matter on the album was a bit different than I've done before, you know, because things were more, before I'd always written a little bit more about myself and my life and whatever, you know, or people I knew or that, but this time I really wanted to sort of explore the kind of emotional underpinnings of living in America in 2010, and you know, and it's a very stressful time. You know, you know, we live in a really tough economy. We're involved in 2 wars. I think we're at a big turning point where our self-esteem as a nation is really being challenged, and that we sort of have to have a paradigm shift as a society, because we've been so unbelievably materialistic as we're sitting here in this like 10,000 square foot penthouse looking at the most beautiful ocean in the world. You know, it's I know people who've lost their homes and people who are coping with having loved ones fighting a war, you know, 7,000 miles from home, and really starting to question what it's all about. Why is it taking a decade?
So you're personally touched by both of those ongoing situations?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I have friends who are, yeah, who've lost their homes and lost their jobs, and the stress that it puts on their families, and you know, it's hard during an economic crisis to keep your family together, you know, and you know, and it's interesting too. It's interesting to see how people are changing. You know, and it's kind of good, because things like, you know, family and friendship and you know, having tight relationships with people is starting to be more and more important.
People are being more spiritual in some ways. You must be so grateful, though, to have the material resources you have during this time, dude.
Oh yeah, no, I've been so lucky, you know, and I never, you know, a lot of people think it's kind of schmaltzy or whatever, but you know, it's like I am incredibly grateful for being able to do my job for the last 15 years and actually make a living doing it. That's a pretty good run for a musician.
Yeah, it is. And you write some really meaningful lyrics, and to be able to mean something to me, you don't even know me or any of these people, but let me take one from, this is one I'm just curious about. This is Home, and some words that I wanted you to just elaborate on. Crowded room is full of empty faces, the deepest conversation full of lies. Another night with my friends, the kind you'll never see again. I wonder if they'll see through my disguise. Yeah. Where was, you know, is there a moment that inspired that?
I think it's probably one of those Los Angeles moments, or LA moment.
Industry bullshit.
Yeah, you know, kind of like, who are these people and why am I here? You know, and I generally don't really mingle with music industry people unless I'm working, you know, because there is a sort of a game face and a facade that you have to have, and you know, there's times where I have to be involved in these things and I feel really, really uncomfortable, and you're just praying that you can keep your facade up so that they will, you know, keep letting you have a career, you know. So
Wow. Okay. So, and it's not like every kind of situation you have to go in. Like is today? Is this another moment you got to keep this front up to get through, like doing this thing? Or
Today's pretty real. Today's about having a good time, you know, and everybody in that stadium, you know, they're real, and you know, being able to sit here and have an intelligent conversation with you is pretty real. So it's all in all, it's a really good day, you know, where I get to be myself.
Okay, and I'm just curious how these, because these words, they're so deep, and this is one of my very, very favorites of anything that you've done. It's a 2002 song, and it's "Here Is Gone," and these words, they have such resonance, and it's just some of them. I thought I lost you somewhere, but you were never really ever there at all. Mm-hmm. And I want to get free. Talk to me. I can feel you falling. That's what you say there, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you say. And I won't tempt to be all you need. Somehow here is gone. And people have their own things in life where they attach the meaning of the song. Mm-hmm. And it can have this deep impact. Years later, they hear the song. And it's just touching. And it's heavy, heavy stuff, you know. Where was the origin of this for you personally? You know, honestly, Is that just your gift? You can just throw these words together? You don't even have to have gone through it. But, you know, it's one of those things where sometimes the song leads you, and you kind of tap into the back of your mind, and things just kind of emerge, you know, and then you work on them a little bit and polish them. And sometimes you don't even know the meaning of things until after it's out of you and you have some distance from it. Like, you know, you got to back up to gain the perspective. You know, you have to sort of, zoom out from the process. And when you're in the process of writing like that, sometimes, you know, it starts to lead you and you don't know where it's going, you know. But, you know, that song was a real gift. I'm going to grab this right here. Yeah, I mean, it's just about having some illusions here, you know. It's like, I believe I was breaking up with a girl at the time, you know. Yeah, I was changing a relationship. I was about to move here. I mean, it has so much attached to, because everything there in my life was gone, you know, at the moment. And there was no future yet. It turned out to be better than the past. But. Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, you know, that's one of the things. It's like when I write songs, I like to leave a little room for interpretation or a lot of room for interpretation. And I think that helps people to attach themselves to the song and really kind of own it, and they're part of that song and how it relates to them in their lives, you know. That's what I was saying to Faye, our photographer, and my girlfriend, I was saying, he writes, they have this way, they're just vague enough that you can put yourself in them, but yet it rocks enough that it holds the test of a rock song, and then it's pop, and you can get it on like AAA, Hot AC. I mean, it's insane, dude. Well, you know, I mean, radio and music are changing so fast right now. But to write it the way that you do, and I know we just have a moment or two left with you, just a quick thought or two before we wrap it up. What are, in terms of your best songs or your favorite songs, how are they generally written through pain? Is pain what gets the best songs? You know what? In my life, at least, I mean, there's been a lot of songs that have come from that place. That's what most artists, you know, we're all really. I mean, you know, most guys that sit and think once in a while. I mean, or you know, you're an artist or a painter or whatever, you know, a writer. I think it's easier to have a high tolerance for pain and a very low tolerance for happiness and pleasure. But I think a lot of my favorite songs that I've written have come out of the fact of being in love, you know, or just really being moved by someone, you know, whether it's a story that was tragic or a story that inspired me, you know. Those kind of things, you really got to sit back and think about them. And you know, I'm just glad that I get a chance to sit back and think about things and then sort of take the situations in my life and then twist them up and make them into like little songs, you know. And it's an interesting thing because
I legitimately never have a reason to be bored or lonely, because I can always pick up a guitar and make something up. It doesn't matter if the world ever gets to hear it. It doesn't matter if it's ever a quote unquote hit. But I'm lucky enough to be able to do that.
I hope the next time you're in Honolulu, I can get you to just have your acoustic with you. Maybe do a little "Here Is Gone" for us.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
And a final question: the thing that makes you happiest, that gets you off the most right now in your life, is there one thing?
Right now?
Yeah, that just you're happiest about today in general. Do you feel the most secure about? Just the one thing.
Well, I think it sort of ties into what we were just talking about. Is the fact that I've been doing a lot of writing. And I generally will take time off in between albums to write, but I didn't this time. I just decided I'm gonna take every opportunity I have to keep writing and keep writing and keep writing. And it's interesting because I've never done it before, and it's pretty amazing what you can unveil, and it's sort of what presents itself to you when you least expect it, and. So I've really been enjoying writing without too much judgment right now, because I'm in no rush. So it feels good.
And why should you be? You got an incredible gift, and I really appreciate you taking a moment for me. I really do, man.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a great conversation. Thank you.
Really?
Yeah, most of the time it's like, so where'd you get the band's name? And, just like, but this was an actual interview. It was really great. Thank you.
You're the man. You're welcome. My pleasure. A big aloha to you.
Aloha.